Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 42 of my G-Senjou no Maou, or the Devil on G string, Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Now, just a heads up for people going into this episode. This is the canon, air quotes, good ending. Faith and I do not agree on this designation. And you may hear some rage from us. Mostly her, because she's better at the raging thing than I am. But, yeah, we won't blame you if you just skip over this episode and probably the next one, and just move on with the story as a whole. But if you're morbidly curious, please enjoy. Sorry, Kanon. I try to be gentle as possible and softly let go of Kanon. Her lingering, reluctant voice hurt my heart. Let's go, okay?
Okay.
Her previously warm eyes became cold in an instant. That rejection must have been rough on her.
There was something wrong with me.
Don't worry about it. Let's save it for when the tournament is over and done with.
Yeah.
She heads to the dressing room with a blank expression. I'm glad I restrained myself. If I had sex with her now, her heart would have been shattered completely. After she finished changing, we returned to my room, talked a little, and I put Kanon to sleep. Megalipses. Ellipses. Christmas Eve rolled around. Kanon would be going straight from evening practice to a nursing home in the Central District. I realize it's only going to take a few hours, but should she really be doing publicity work the day before her big competition? Could this have possibly been arranged behind Coach Hilton's back? I can imagine Ikuku-san pulling this together on her own. My curiosity got the best of me, so I asked Hilton. The man didn't seem too concerned about the money or politics in figure skating. He behaved like a genuine coach when I spoke with him. He told me he had allowed the gig on the condition that it didn't get in the way of Kanon's holiday, and that she didn't mind doing it. So, basically, I was right. Ikoko coaxed him into it. I can't blame him. Communicating with that hopelessly narrow-minded mother is difficult, even for me.
Alright, I'm going now.
That violent attitude from yesterday had disappeared. In its place, gloomy eyes looked up at me. I'll come pick you up later tonight. I had looked up the address of the nursing home. We can do something to celebrate afterwards.
It's alright, you don't have to.
She sullenly lifts her eyebrows. Kanon was worried that the cajolery she hates so much was mixed into my words somewhere.
Anyway, I'm going. I'll keep an eye on Seto-san during practice.
I let slip what I hesitated to say. Seta called yesterday.
Huh?
She said she wasn't angry or anything, and that it was her fault.
What the hell does that mean?
Yet again, she lets out her anger.
And what the hell is she doing calling you? It's me she should be apologizing to.
She was probably trying to give you some time to cool down. She figured I'd tell you when the time was right. But I guess I jumped the gun a little. I mean, did you forgive her the first time she apologized directly to you? No, you just lashed out at her.
So,
Seta is worried about you.
yeah, whatever.
She heaves a sigh of disdain, bearing her mother's intolerance. She's nothing to sneeze at, you know.
Yeah. I'll beat her tomorrow.
Kanon runs out the door.
What made you decide to show up?
I just thought I'd watch you practice. If you don't mind, of course.
Will you come to the old folks' home with me later tonight?
I've got plans for tonight.
Huh? How? Weren't you going to spend the night with me?
That got cancelled, so I'll be with Papa. I can't think of any two words that seem to fit together, less than Christmas and Gonzo. But believe it or not, the Yakuza really get into holiday festivities. I'll pick you up, though.
Fine.
She entered the arena with an air of dissatisfaction. I sit in the empty stands, staring down onto the ice. The athletes change into their costumes and do the practice routines their respective coaches tell them to. I watch Kanon. She's standing near the wall, being scolded by Hilton. He's saying something about her not being into the practice. Indeed, her skating tonight seems weak and lifeless. What a truly mental sport.
You know, it's funny, I felt really sorry for her in the first chapter, and now I don't like her at all.
Yeah.
It did no favors to get closer to her mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyosuke-kun. It's rare to see you here.
I'm startled by a voice behind me as it abruptly calls my name. And how are you today, Ikuko-san? Ikuko-san, who should be an outsider, stood there as if it were a matter of course.
How's Kanon?
She's not looking too good.
Is that so? Whatever could be the problem, I wonder. You are the problem.
My chest tightens in disgust.
Think it's because she's staying with you these days? Oh, you twat.
Ellipses. Now we don't like Kanon or her mother. And Gonzo's just terrifying. We don't like pretty much the entire family.
Basically, you know, something akin to being unable to sleep on a different pillow.
Perhaps. Who knows? My gaze returns to Kanon.
Okay, but if you meant that, you would have said, do you think it's because she's not home?
Yeah.
Not, do you think it's because it's with you? That was a very subtle barb. Very good.
Ikuko-san doesn't seem to heed my cold attitude. What are you doing here, Ikuko-san?
What am I doing? Watching Kanon practice, of course.
Every day?
Every day. I would rather teach her myself, though.
Kanon is truly everything to this person.
No, her talent is. Oh, I have to go now. Looks like it's time for a break.
Where are you going?
Bring down some warm drinks, of course.
That clingy voice sent a chill down my spine. You do that every day?
Is something the matter? Why wouldn't I?
Acting so servile each and every day. How terrifying. If the object of her love was a member of the opposite sex, then she would have become a terrible stalker indeed.
Poor Kanon-chan. If it were me, I wouldn't scold her so much. No, you just emotionally manipulate her.
And I think Kanon prefers the scolding.
When you see emotional manipulation, everyone prefers the scolding.
Her words seemed to imply that she was the only person capable of comforting Kanon.
I'll see you later, Kyosuke-kun.
She walks away like a girl skipping through a flower garden. I, on the other hand, am stunned speechless. Why didn't I realize this sooner? How did I not notice Kanon's dreadful mother, always following her around like a shadow? The woman's an abomination. She undoubtedly loves Kanon, and she loves herself just as much. Well done, Kanon. It's 4 o'clock, and she just put the finishing touches on her program for tomorrow.
That skirt really bothers me. So weird, it's like she tied a bunch of bandanas to her belt.
Or got caught in a paper shredder, and they pulled it out at the last moment.
And stuck it on her, yeah. It just looks weird.
Before I can call out to Kanon, Ikuko runs up to her.
You were great today, as always. Your spins were so light that you couldn't even see the ice shavings. Really? Definitely. Sada-san has nothing on you. Don't say that so loudly. But it's true.
All this time, the woman's just been complimenting her to death?
Oh, I forgot my jacket in the ring. I'll kid it. Wait here.
She jogs off.
You're still here, Nissan?
That's a lovely greeting.
What did you think?
Not really sure. I still can't quite tell the difference between the different kind of jumps in real time yet? Kanon nodded indifferently.
Most spectators can't. Still, they like to run their mouth about it, don't they?
That's just how it goes.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, I'm not bothered by it.
She speaks negligently and sighs uninterestedly.
Coach sure has taken her time.
She looks up at the clock with narrowed eyes.
She always does this, you know?
It's all for your sake, though, right?
She does everything for me.
Isn't that a good thing?
You tell me. It's the reason Nanchan grew up to be selfish. Oh, she's self-aware.
Apparently Kanon came to my recent realization a long time ago. While trying to think of what to say to ease Kanon's sealed heart, I find our conversation wandering to my own mother. My mother did everything for me, too. I've talked to you about her before, haven't I?
Yeah, you said she was sick.
Right. Anyway, I've been thinking about going to live with her again. Back when I lived up north, she stayed up all night once to sew me a pair of gloves. When I talk about our time together out loud, it sounds like I'm spouting country lyrics or something. We smiled as we shared some noodles and broth. Pretty funny, isn't it?
Not really.
No, it totally is. When I came down with a fever once, she rode a bicycle down snowy roads to find doctors and bring them back to our place.
Huh?
Has Ikuko-san ever done anything like that?
Maybe.
She lowers her gaze and tilts her head as if she's trying to recall something. And as if changing her mind, looks back at me.
What if she did?
Heck if I know.
What?
The only thing I can boast about is my mother, so I did. I didn't mean anything by it. She always projected such a radiant personality, so having one parent never made me feel like something was missing. She risked herself to protect me from that monster of a man. My mother is the most amazing person in this world to me.
But
She shook her head.
my mother.
I interrupted her next words. Your mother is your mother.
Oopsies.
It's no use comparing yourself to me, or placing the blame with me. Your mother is Ikuko-san. Quite the cheesy line, if I say so myself. Sorry, I've got an Oedipus complex. I mean, I'm always bringing up my mum when talking to girls on group dates, and it tends to freak them out a little.
I don't think that's quite what you have, but okay.
Kanon unintentionally leaks a wry smile.
You're weird today, Nissan.
Yeah, I am.
You never talk about yourself.
To be honest, I just don't know how to handle you.
Yeah, I know.
Is it that obvious? Kanon gave an unsure smile.
Of course. Brother and sister, even if it's only a name. That makes the whole situation creepier.
An apologetic light dwelt in her eyes, but she never once said she was sorry.
Kanon-chan, I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Kanon carelessly grabs the jacket that Ikuko-san hands her. I see that a lot. Do you plan on wearing it for the free skate the day after tomorrow? After I say that, Kanon's mother's face lights up.
I chose it, didn't I, Kanon-chan? You like it, don't you?
Kanon jerks her chin and addresses me.
That's how it is.
I, her brother in name only, suddenly realize that she's only trying to feign insolence. As she leaves, she turns back.
Don't be going on any more group dates.
She was neither angry nor laughing. She came off more like a pouting child. It's quite dark outside now. I'm exhausted from dealing with that villainous bunch. I think every last one of them asked me if I planned to join the Yakuza. There were more important things on my mind. I have to go meet up with Kanon. The place is in the Central District. Right somewhere near the hospital where we caught Saizhou. I had completely forgotten about Mao's existence. I haven't heard anything from Usami either. Lovely child, huh? Let's just put all that in the past. Kanon is waiting for me. Have I gotten lost? This is bad. It's way past 9 o'clock, the time I said I'd meet her. I don't want to make Kanon worry about such little things. The umpteenth time I turned a corner one of these tangled residential streets. Huh? I spotted a crowd in the darkness. Several elderly people were crowded around someone. Is that Kanon? Kanon doesn't seem to have noticed me.
Thank you for the evening. What a wonderful Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Kanon nodded with discontent.
You came to see us on a holiday, even though you are so busy. Thank you very much. Heavens, it's more than we deserve.
Yeah, I can certainly see how this would be an unprecedented event for them. It's not every day that a famous figure skater shows up at some downtown nursing home.
Your contest is tomorrow, isn't it, dearie? Sorry for keeping you with these old hags so late.
It's not a problem.
She shakes her head, but doesn't make eye contact with anyone. For some reason, I hesitate to call out to her. Kanon has an expression like she doesn't know what to do, and she won't take her leave, even though her work is well finished. What change of heart did Kanon have? The same Kanon who was so apathetic towards her fans and the media.
I have a grandchild just about your age, Kanon-chan.
The people here speak so intimately with her, their voices filled with emotion.
He hasn't come to see me in years, but seeing you gave me some hope, I guess.
Is that so?
Really, thank you for this wonderful Christmas present.
It's a very husky-voiced old woman. How about
Yes,
that?
the woman claps her hands together and bows. Kanon begins to mutter.
Aren't you guys lonely?
The elderly people around her can respond with nothing but saddened looks and wry smiles.
I mean, every last one of you has some reason you can't live with the children you raised, right?
Usually because they need more care than their children can provide.
Yeah.
Kanon chose her words as best she could. Stringing those thought-out words together, she continued.
Doesn't that make you guys lonely or angry?
Still, her audience maintains their polite smiles.
Shucks, of course I'm lonely.
A man speaks up with something akin to pride.
But my idiot son is footing the bill, so I can't act too self-important.
Kanon stares into empty space and stays silent.
It's quite lonely, but the road of my life is too long a path to walk when carrying grudges the whole way.
Some of the people present had no relatives at all. As if comforting each other, they all talk about the conclusions they've come to over the course of their long lives.
So, despite everything, you're all grateful.
When she says that, they smile at her in embarrassment.
Kanon-chan, it's time to go.
Ikuko-san hollers from a distance. Kanon nods reluctantly.
Well then, Merry Christmas.
The elderly people go their separate ways in low spirits.
See, Kanon-chan? Your mother told you it would turn out like this. Like what? That she'd be glad you came. Miss Akiba was thrilled to hear you decided to show up.
Miss Ikibe was Ikuko's old coach, and the one who arranged this job for Kanon.
Your mother is very proud of you.
Without waiting for her daughter's response, Ikuko-san took the liberty to feel satisfied. Kanon,
Oh, Nissan.
I've come to pick you up. Let's go.
Alright, Kanon. See you tomorrow. Show them what you're made of.
She left, wearing her unchanging smile of flattery. A solid day's work, eh, Kanon?
Day's not over yet.
I walk home with the discontented Kanon. All right, let's have sex.
You feeling alright? Your jokes are worse than usual.
She smiles wryly. I ask her about the gig while pouring some coffee. How was it? You showed the people at the nursing home your ballet, right?
I forgot most of it though.
Still, They seemed delighted.
Yeah, to be so happy over such a little thing. They must be so...
She suddenly bites her tongue and changes her mind. As long as they're happy, it doesn't matter.
That's only the case when there's nothing to win or lose.
I laugh abruptly.
I don't need a rival like Seto-san.
I wonder. I sigh as I hand the coffee cup to her.
The other day, Coach...
Yeah?
She said that if I don't win an Olympic gold, she'll die.
Die? I could tell Kanon wasn't joking. And it's not out of Ikoko-san's character either. She relies far too much on her daughter. I wouldn't be surprised if she hung herself. I just think, oh, so she did it after all. And?
I don't know.
She rubs her legs together as if enduring the cold.
I just kind of thought, oh, is that so?
It seems like Kanon has been building up emotions which she can't convey through words. It won't be a laughing matter if she does die. I smile lightly while saying so.
Nope.
Kanon smiles along with me. Anyway, go to sleep while it's still early.
Yeah, I have to show them what I'm made of tomorrow.
She says so jokingly and heads for the changing room. A while later, Kanon is asleep on the bed. She peeks out from under the covers and whimpers a little.
I think I might lose tomorrow.
I could sense the sincerity in that sobbing, wounded girl's voice. Megalipses. Ellipses. Ellipses. Megalipses. Kanon's fears materialized into reality. It's the first day of the Japan Championships ladies events. Kanon's short program was scheduled directly following Seta's. Seta's performance was tremendous. The more applause she received, the higher her score would be, and the arena's furor was deafening. She received the highest scores in the Japan's Championships history, and swept the audience up in a whirlpool of excitement. She didn't rely solely on her trademark step sequences. She attempted the difficult jumps that Kanon specialized in, and pulled them off magnificently. At the end of her performance, I involuntarily stood up and clapped with raging emotion. How could Kanon feel as she stepped onto the rink, watching this new Seta in the kiss and cry? The applause that thundered in the arena was no longer directed at Kanon. Everyone has taken up the bad image forced upon her by the press. There were no boos or scoffs, of course, but the difference from her last time was obvious. They chose instead to ridicule her with half-hearted applause, crossed legs, and a symphony of coughs and cleared throats. Everyone looked down upon her with discriminatory gazes, showing their distaste in a manner befitting the Japanese. Had she caught on to the tainted atmosphere? Kanon's performance lacked spirit. At least, that's how I saw it, and I'm sure the spectators and judges would agree. She's hopeless. The man in the seat next to me didn't even wait until Kanon had finished to mutter his opinion. Though I didn't like it, I had to agree. It's true that she's lacking in vigor. What happened to her bullet-like speed? Her once magnificent jumps now looked as though they were just barely avoiding being marked as under-rotated. And she calls that edge work? Her legs seemed to be moving up a storm, but to me, it looked like she was frantically shuffling them about. Maybe she ran out of stamina. During her final jump, a pained expression was plastered on the arena's jumbotron. When the song finished, a few scattered claps decorated the silence of the arena, but not a single person rose. There was no penalties to speak of, but the performance bore none of Kanon's unique charm, the charm that would usually shake one to his or her core. Her program was designed as innately high-scoring, so she managed to get second place, but there was more than a 15-point difference between her and the leader, Seta. As it stands, even a layman would call Worlds a long shot for Kanon. Participation at Worlds may be formally decided as the results of the Japan Championship, but they also take into account the scores of the Grand Prix of Figure Skating Finals. As the loser of the finals, Kanon would need a combined score this time around that beats Seta by a hefty amount. It's highly unlikely Kanon will be able to compensate for both the finals and today by trouncing Seta during tomorrow's free skate. In fact, she'll have her hands full just beating Seta at all. Just looking at Seta's technical score was enough to make my stomach turn. The technical scores basically represent how well one executed difficult step sequences, jumps, and other elements. Up until now, everyone had predicted that Kanon would hold a monstrous lead with respect to technical marks. But in reality, the differences wasn't so overwhelming. Had Seta sincerely displayed some phenomenal growth? Or had the judges handed down a rather lenient judgment? It was probably a combination of the two. At any rate, it was plenty enough to crush Kanon's pride and identity. And above all,
Look, I've got nothing to say.
Kanon's face was displayed on the huge screen. Her cold expression didn't even have a trace of fighting spirit. Kanon was popular both on and off the ice, in a bad way. An assembly of paparazzi and reporters asked her malevolent questions, hoping that she would slip up and say something regretful.
Were you even trying today? What did you think of Seta's performance? Kanon-san, please face this way. You're not a child.
We probably figured that if Kanon wouldn't entertain their readers with her performance, then perhaps they could pull something out of her to give them a few kicks.
Ellipses.
The crowd and dozens of blinding flashes blocked Kanon's way. Her eyes were glued to the ground, and her gait betrayed that she was enduring pain and stress. I edged closer to Kanon and tugged her frail hand. They redirected their cameras towards me, but I had no time for them.
Wait, Coach is coming.
She whispered in my ear. Ikuko-san looked at the camera shamelessly and apologetically answered their trivial questions. Let's go.
Wait,
Let's just leave her.
no.
Why not?
She said she would take me to dinner.
I followed Kanon, feeling irritated. Ikuko-san was in high spirits during the meal. What happened to the ladylike etiquette she upheld before the media? She revealed her true colors and started ragging on Seta and the judges.
It's ridiculous. Kanon-chan isn't the one to blame.
Kanon nodded mechanically, as if Ikuko's words were going in one ear and out the other.
Why is everyone so rotten these days? Don't worry about them, Kanon-chan. I at least understand how great you are. You'll have another shot tomorrow, so don't feel so down. All you have to do is win, and your mother will handle the rest. I'll make sure you make it big.
My stomach churns from the nausea. Ikuko maintains this big smile, like it's carved into her face, and clings onto her daughter. With a face as emotionless as a porcelain doll, Kanon accompanied her mother. As I began to feel a bit dizzy, a bizarre circumstance presented itself. The two of them went on ahead out of the alleyway and headed towards the sidewalk on the other side of the street. The traffic light turned green. They began to cross the empty intersection. On the right-hand side, I saw a dark shadow approach. Ikuko-san faced it. "Watch out!" Was I the one who shouted that? Or was it Ikuko-san who shouted it? The one who got run over?
Well then,
The driver of the sports car was conversing with a woman in the passenger seat and ran the red light. The grinding sound of the brakes snapped me out of my daze. The screech wasn't very loud, so the car must have been going really slowly. I managed to retain my composure, despite the shock of the accident. Despite the shock of the incident. The driver jumped out of the car, shouting, "What the hell were you doing, you idiot? This isn't my fault!" But the traffic signal clearly conveyed the blame. People gathered around the intersection. Beside Ikuko-san, who was laying on the ground face up, Kanon stood perfectly still. That girl stood like a statue, wearing the face she does when ignoring her mother's cajolery. And then she nodded. Megalipses. Ellipses.
She didn't even notice. Her ankle throbbed with pain. I'm completely fine. Her mother's patronizing laughter echoed in the dark room. Coach had been hit by a car. She didn't remember much after that. The police came, and she remembered Kyosuke running around in a hurry or something. Kanon-chan, did you get hurt? No. That's right. I protected you. Though it happened so fast, you probably don't remember the details.
Are you seriously using a car accident to manipulate your daughter? That is really impressive.
However, Kanon remembered the details of the accident clearly. Ikuko hadn't protected her. Kanon saw the sluggish car coming. She yelled, "Watch out!" However, Ikuko faced the car in a sort of suicidal standoff. She pushed Kanon away, and the next moment she was lying on the ground. It looked more like intentionally slipping and tumbling over in an exaggerated fashion to Kanon. In fact, the car never even touched her.
What are the band-aids for?
Her head was just barely scratched.
Though, to be fair, head wounds always look worse than they actually are.
Oh god, they bleed so much.
Yeah.
She would stay in the hospital overnight just to be sure all was well. That was it. Actually, when Ikuko pushed Kanon out of the way, she might have sprained Kanon's ankle. That was a far more serious concern. Don't worry, Kanon. I'll make sure the meanies from the media get wind of this. The mother was chivalrously toppled while protecting her daughter. It was a fabricated fairy tale, but her mind had already decided to paint that fabricated fairy tale as reality. What a person. Kanon had no idea such an insignificant, petty human could possibly exist. Remembering that this woman was her own mother froze Kanon's blood. Let's just hope this will make the judges go a little easier on you tomorrow. Ikuko's chin jerks with a faint grin. All Kanon could do was smile awkwardly. I wish she would just die, she plainly thought. Those lingering sentiments finally crystallized, and Kanon said, Coach, you love me, right? What? I mean, you've always loved me. Right? Of course. I see. Then, Kanon focuses on the faint echoes of the hospital's corridors. There's nothing within earshot. No one else is in the hospital room.
Is she going to murderize her mother?
Oh lord.
She is Gonzo's child.
The white bed, the white Ikuko, glaringly distinct against the black darkness of the room. Sweat runs down her temple, trickling down her cheeks and across her neck. It's winter, but it's terribly hot. Kanon's fingers tighten into a fist, and her beating heart hammers against her ribcage. She tries to move, but her feet stick to the floor like they're glued in place. Now, do it. There's no other way. Mother and daughter, the irrefutable bonds of blood. As long as her mother exists, this nightmare will continue.
Dear God, she is going to kill her mother.
Oh god.
She must break these bonds. Ikuko let her guard down. She could never have imagined her daughter's bare fangs might be turned against her. Kanon stands still, looking down upon her mother. This is the last time she'll see her mother's smiling face. Long ago, she had believed that this face, one ruled by flattery and pettiness, was a gentle one. She reflects on her past subconsciously. Kanon had looked up at this face quite a bit as a child. You've really grown up well, Kanon-chan. Kanon flushes all thoughts of hesitation from her mind. She won't let herself be fooled again. Ikuko loves herself.
It's okay to love yourself. Just not when you're being a twat about it.
And preferably in private.
She's just using her daughter to fulfill the dreams she couldn't fulfill herself.
That's when you're starting to be a twat about it.
Yes.
Up until now, she's obeyed her mother's instructions. Even though she knew her mother had no talent, she allowed her to be her coach for a long period of time. Kanon didn't reject or revise her mother's free skate program either. She wore whatever Ikuko asked her to wear. She went along with her mother, showing off to the press, even though she felt it was disgraceful. Kanon bites her lip. Her Christmas Eve plans were the last straw. She sacrificed her promise to her brother, the man she loves, for the sake of her mother's image. What will you cling to now? Cling? Stop trying to rely on me. You're acting strange, Kanon-chan. At that moment, Kanon's arm shot out. Like an arrow, it fired at Ikuko's neck. Her vision, her arm, her breath, her knees. Her entire body was trembling furiously.
Okay, I was actually joking about Kanon killing her mother.
Apparently, Kanon wasn't.
Why? In reality, Kanon hadn't budged 1 inch. God, why? She suppresses a moan as she stands there shivering. You're the worst mother ever. The absolute worst. But, God, why? A mother is still a mother, no matter what.
I disagree viciously with that sentiment.
Why do I feel okay with you using me?
Oh god, it's gonna be one of these.
Kanon-chan? Shut up! She explodes in anger. You're always like that. Always, always just living in your own perfect little world, thinking you're the perfect person. You'll die in that world. Ikuko had a frightened expression, as if thinking, has my child gone mad? But it's alright. Whatever. I understand now. I realize something. Kanon looks back on her short life.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna really despise this. She had been forced to skate as though it were a natural thing.
But even if she was pressured by her mother, the many crowds' applauses were real. Those people's smiles were real.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I realized I have to say thank you. Oopsies.
Thank you for screwing up my life, Mom.
Thank you for messing me up psychologically for the rest of my life, because people like my performances, so it's okay.
Welcome to the world of child acting.
It hurts. It's confusing. It feels wrong, but I have to say it.
No.
Go with those feelings, Kanon.
No, you don't.
Trust your feelings. You know it to be true.
Kanon glared at her mother in anger and disgrace, but her words continued to flow out endlessly. Please don't. Even if you were just using me for your own sake, you did everything with so much gratitude and emotion.
No. No, that's not how it works. This hurts my heart.
Kanon-chan, calm down, will you? Kanon shook her head. Any intervention would be futile. I'm talking to myself right now. I make money for you, right? Okay, I'll keep making money for you. Skating is expensive after all. If you hadn't paid millions of yen, no one would have ever heard of Azai Kanon.
This is like Kyosuke saying that paying all that money back to Gonzo, like being in debt for just the price of being a child that had to be raised, is okay.
Yeah.
That is what she is saying right now. This is so fucked up.
Well, considering her parents.
I know, but they're expressing this like it's not that she's doing it. It's that the narrative is expressing this as a good ending.
Yeah.
And is not expressing this as something that is wrong. I'm okay with Kanon's mind accepting this as a character, but the narrative should not be treating it as a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need booze for this.
That's not... It's fine, really. Do what you want with me. You were always gentle to me, and so darn sweet. That's good enough.
No! That's not... Many abusers are sweet. I have got tears of rage in my eyes right now.
Kanon mutters as she cries herself out. It's fine, Mom. I guess I'll stop hating you. Kanon-chan, Ikuko says dubiously. Surely to God, you aren't saying you don't like skating anymore.
That's all you're thinking about right now. See, this is why this is a bad thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Like, she's just proving the point that I'm trying to make.
Kanon smiles weakly and shakes her head. I love it. I see.
That's fine. You should be skating for you.
I'll be number 1, I swear.
Her foolish mother returned once more to her genuine expression.
Kanon let out an involuntary laugh. You're my mother, after all. I can't help it.
That doesn't make it okay.
At that moment, Ikuko swallowed her breath in surprise. In Kanon's eyes, the plaster abomination surrounding her mother began to crack. Has your mother been hurting you, Kanon-chan? No one answered her mutter.
About time you bloody realized it, and doesn't mean it makes this right.
Hey, answer me.
Her mother started quivering as well. Kanon-chan?
She looked into her daughter's face with bated breath. When she realized that contained within was pity towards herself, and the feeling that the only thing left was to just give up, her lips tightened and she blinked a few times. Poor Mom. No one likes you these days.
We don't like her either.
There's reason for that.
So I'll be number 1, I swear. And I'll be on your side, even if no one else in the whole world will.
See, that sounds sweet, but
I'm honored to accept the privileged title of Mom's number 1.
yeah, see, but you've been her number 1 all your life, and you see how it's turned you out,
Yeah.
right?
It's okay, Mom. It's okay. Kanon smiled. If she doesn't smile, nothing will change.
This whole scene has been nothing but you saying that the status quo is okay and that you'll stick with it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about change right now?
Kanon-chan, after speaking with gasping breaths, her eyes slowly filled with despair. And then the night wore on. The contest Kanon's mother wagered her honor and even life on slowly drew near.